Yes. Yes.
It's 17 hours.
It's 17 hours.
Yeah. And 4 for me.
And for, I just like the sound of that because it just reminds me I can sit in one position for like 18 hours nonstop, and which is unhealthy. So I'd like you to introduce yourself, Nchimunya, and let everyone get to know you. So this is Let's Talk Agile with Nchimunya. Let my audience get to know who you are. All right.
Yeah. Mercy, I would like to thank you for this opportunity that you have given me to talk about Agile. My name is Nchimunya Kabunda Brown, and talking out of Ghana, Accra. I am on this part of the world because of my family. I'm married with 2 beautiful children, and I've been in the IT industry for over 15 years, having worked in Zambia most of my IT career. I worked for the Parliament of Zambia, and then I moved to join my husband in West Africa. And right now I'm working with Ennèa-world, an NGO based in Paris. And we are engaged in distributing school supplies across the globe to vulnerable communities. And I've been managing the Zambia mission and part of West Africa. So in a nutshell, that's me.
Wow, Nchimunya, that's quite a journey. I like what you said earlier. Yeah. You
Yeah,
said something that was very powerful. You said, if I don't tell people, they won't know that I'm green.
right.
Though I worked in a bank for a while in the IT space, I can't call myself an IT savvy person.
Right.
So for me, I think it's very key.
Yeah.
How did you get into the agile space? The goal of this conversation is to let people know they
Yeah.
can do whatever they want to do if they set their heart to it.
You know, the agile space is a timeless space for me to be in terms of when I moved from my country, Zambia, to join my husband, I definitely had to leave my employment and start looking for employment elsewhere. And during that search, I met a friend of mine who was actually talking about me trying to do Scrum. And I'm thinking, what is Scrum? I've never heard of Scrum. So I decided to do a research on what Scrum is all about. And when I looked around Ghana to see if there were any meetups, I found that there were meetups being done by Sikahini. And I decided to get in touch with him. So I attended those meetups. And that's how my journey of Agile, being in Agile, started. Then I decided to just pick up a certification in Scrum and really get to understand what the framework is all about. Because being told what it's all about or just reading theory is different from the practical aspect of being Agile or doing Scrum. So I decided to do that certification. It was a quick 2 weeks. But the beauty about it was that it was I was doing it during the time of the COVID lockdown, just the early part of the year, and that kept me going because, as you know, we had to shift. We had to shift in the way we're doing things. We had to adapt to the new way of doing things. So I had to do my meetups, like my Ghana meetups, away from Ghana online. But it gave me an opportunity of the meetups actually gave me an opportunity of really delving into Agile and really understanding what the framework is all about, what the practical side of doing Agile is. So that's when my journey began, and it's only been this is my second year, and it's been a wonderful journey. There's a lot of learning and relearning, and a lot of collaborations, and definitely adapting to the new way of working. So that's how my journey began.
Wow. That is quite inspiring. And it's not as if you've been in this sector for a very long time, have you?
Not at all. Not at all. This is my second year, actually.
Second year. Wow. So,
Yeah.
which means it's possible for any African, because this industry, and you know, the irony of what I've discovered in Nchimunya is Africans are the most agile in their mind,
Yeah.
but they just lack understanding, because I'm currently having a cohort 2 going on. You need
Right.
to see the caliber of people that I have in my class, as in, it's unreal. Anyway, it's not about me today. So I'd like to know, what are some of the challenges that you have identified as a newbie to the Agile space? What are some of the challenges that you have identified? And what, no, let's start with the challenges first, then we talk about the opportunities.
So the challenges I have come across in the later time that I've been doing Agile is, I'll specifically speak about Zambia. When it comes to adoption, awareness of Agile in Zambia, it's really been slow. Everybody you speak to, they'll ask you, or when you put up a post on social media, there'll definitely be somebody to ask you what Agile is. And in a layman's language, I've always told people it's about learning a little and doing a little and learning a little and getting feedback. How do you achieve all this? You can achieve it doing Agile. But the thing is, not so many people know what Agile is all about. So that has been one of the big challenges back in Zambia. And I think that's why I decided to sign up to be an ambassador for Zambia for the Agile20Reflect Festival, so that I could share knowledge about what Agile is all about. And once I share that knowledge, I think it'll be easier for the community back in Zambia to accept and adopt the Agile frameworks. And that way you will have so many people that want to use Agile will be successful if they know exactly what it is. So that has been one of the biggest challenges, like back in Zambia, just adoption and awareness of Agile methodologies and frameworks.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would say that at the end of the day, that is equally the same challenge that we in Nigeria would say. There isn't enough awareness about what Agile mindset is all about, the adoption of it. For cohort 1, you know, it will shock you. 80% have not heard Agile. They didn't know what Agile was.
Right.
But you know, the beauty was 100% of them passed their Scrum.org certification. It was unreal. So for me, if only people are aware about this industry, it will be a game changer. So what are some of the successes that you would have recorded? What would that be?
I think the success that is really vivid in my mind is just catching up with the pace of innovation. When you look at the rate that innovation is moving at, it's moving at a very fast rate. What happened yesterday is very old. There's definitely something new today. So for me, being part of this revolution of moving with the pace at which innovation is going is a big success for me. And I want my community to be a part of this success, because we don't want to be left behind. Africa is always being left behind. And why is that? We need to ask questions. Why is it that we have successful businesses? We have people with great mindsets. So how do we get that mindset and be a part of the bigger picture of success? So for me, really, Agile has come at the right time. Me being part of the Agile community globally has come at the right time, because I want to drive that success in my community. in my home, in my country, Zambia, and globally. So that's a success for me right there, Messi.
Wow. Wow. That is quite inspirational, to say the least. It's quite inspirational. What can I say with regards to the agile mindset adoption with Africans? Where from the, I remember when I was having my interview with you on the Agile20Reflect, one thing was common phenomenon for all of us. Yeah. Same challenges, same unique situation. A major blocker, as you know, I'd like you to speak with that, to the adoption of the agile mindset. Actually, I'd like you to speak to that. I don't want to state it for you.
Right.
What do you think has been a major blocker for the adoption of agile as a mindset for a lot of Africans?
I think for me, Mercy, really, it's the values and the culture that we have. The values and culture are a big part of Agile. And when it comes to our mindset as Africans, we need to shift that mindset and learn to move quickly. And how do we do that? We need to make sure people are part of this journey. They are aware of what Agile is all about and have that mind shift. Because if they don't have that mind shift, it will be difficult to implement and have that adoption of Agile. So for instance, I like I earlier mentioned, I moved from Southern Africa to West Africa. And how do I manage to integrate into the West African ecosystem? I had to learn the culture. I had to immerse myself into the culture, into the West African culture, and just learn the ropes of how things are done in West Africa. And for me, I think even in the Agile practices, you have to learn the people values, you have to learn organizational culture, you have to learn the culture of a country. And for you to be successful, you have to really understand the people aspect for you to be successful in Agile. So people are really are key to the success of Agile.
Wow.
Yeah.
So without people, there is no Agile, there is no success of Agile. And that's a given, because you need people to succeed as an Agilist. One thing I say to the student, for Learntor students, is the fact that for you to be an Agilist, you have to love people.
Yep.
And not just loving people.
You have to really understand the people aspect. Sorry,
there's a feedback. Okay. So you have to love people, and you must have that mindset of a servant leader to actually want to serve
the people aspect for you to be successful in.
Sorry, the YouTube is playing back.
Okay.
That you must have the mindset of the Agilist, okay? Yes, I'm an Agilist. Yes, I love people. You have to be willing to serve people, although servant leadership is now been reversed as a result of the Scrum guide that was released. Actually, I'd like you to speak to that, because people are not very clear. What does it mean, reversing the servant leader? Why? I'd like to hear your thoughts before I go to the next question. What do you understand?
I think there were a couple of misconceptions about who a servant leader is. And I believe it had to be, that complexity had to be dealt with, and really break down what a servant leader is in Agile. When you talk about servant leadership, you must serve the people that you're working with, and not the other way around, you know? And it doesn't mean you are to do all the running around or it's the other way around. You have to be the listener. You have to listen. You have to understand people. You have to coach people. You have to teach people. You have to manage people. So a servant leader actually has a lot of diverse qualities that are really important. And I think that misconception had to be corrected.
Sorry, I'm muted. A lot of organization, I guess a lot of organizations feel that because you're the servant leader, I have to send you to go and get me a cup of coffee.
Right.
And get me, as a developer, I just need to boss you around. Yes. You know, I think I see why there's a lot of miscommunication, misunderstanding of what the role of a Scrum Master. People don't understand the Scrum Master does a lot of work. For a Scrum.
Sorry, Mercy, to cut you short, but I was about to say that when it comes to the African continent, if you say I'm a Scrum Master, people will ask you, what is that? So imagine when you say a Scrum Master is a servant leader. So that misconception really had to be brought to light to make people understand that actually a Scrum Master is a key leadership role in an organization. And a Scrum Master has to be respected. He has to be trusted to transform an organization from what it is to where they want it to be. So how do you entrust the whole organization or the big projects? How do you entrust all this with somebody? So all that has to be put into consideration, and all that has to be taught to the masses, especially in Africa, and really get to help them understand what the role of a Scrum Master is, what a Scrum Master does, how a Scrum Master helps the organization, how a Scrum Master helps the developers or the development team, and just Agile at large. So there's a lot of knowledge sharing that we in Africa, Mercy, we need to do, and we have a huge task ahead of us. And I'm glad we are speaking today so that we can start tackling this issue right away.
Indeed, that's the essence of this conversation. Let's talk after, to get people to ask questions, to get people to know that it's not such a tall order to say I'm an Agilist.
Yeah.
But you are an Agilist by default, especially African, because we know what it means to adapt. We know what it means to pivot. We know what it means to change. Government, we know what it is, but we keep adjusting, we keep adapting, we keep taking it on. We don't let it break us. We have such an unbreakable spirit. And I think that is one of the core value or element the Scrum Master or an Agilist needs. So people just need to understand that Agile is a mindset.
Right.
Scrum is some type of, Scrum is a framework. So it's Kanban, safe, and all the 9 yards of framework. So once you understand that, you need to have a mindset of people. You have to have people in your heart to want to change, to want to breathe the change. I think the number one Agilist that people underestimate is Jesus. He was a true servant leader. Yeah. He came to serve, because he loved the people. Yeah. But we don't tend to get that credit to him, But in the real sense, he's the one that was the number one Agilist, in my own word anyway. Yeah. But however, I know that for Africans that we have quite a long journey to go. Yeah. I'd like you to tell someone that is still like, I'm not sure what these people are talking about, like you were. I'd like you to say to them, I'm not sure what you can say to them to encourage them that this is a sector that never dies. An accountant expires, a receptionist expires, even those jobs are gone. A secretary expires, but an Agilist, you are invaluable. Do you want to speak to that?
Mercy, that's an interesting perspective. I would like to tell whoever is still contemplating being part of the Agile community I would like to tell them that they need to be bold. They need to get onto the wagon and come along, because we are moving with time. And they say the fast fish are swallowed by the slow fish is swallowed by the fast fish. So if you're slow, you'll be swallowed by that fast fish. And if you're not disruptive, somebody will disrupt that business for you. So Agile is disrupting a lot of sectors right now, because we have to be innovative. We have to create value. In these times of COVID, how do we create value? How do we move with time? Because everything has changed. And how do we adapt to that type of change? How do we have continuous innovation? Or how do we have a continuous supply chain? We have to be agile. And so many organizations, so many sectors are using Agile in what they do. So Agile is not only for IT, for the IT sector. Agile can be used in any kind of sector, be it HR, be it a restaurant, be it IT, as I said. Agile can be used anywhere. So be bold. It's time to change. And the change can be done in little iterative process. It doesn't have to be big change. That small change is very significant. And it starts from the small bit. You learn a little, you do a little, learn a little. And it's all about feedback. And I think, Mercy, one thing that we really needed to address is when I look at Africa and feedback, it's a thing that we need to embrace. And sometimes I believe negative feedback is good feedback. Negative feedback is good feedback, because with Agile, negative feedback will actually build you. You'll be able to know what is going on. Everything will be transparent. People are being open by giving you that negative feedback, and you have to respect what they're telling you and act upon, improve in terms of based on the feedback that you have been given. So feedback is also a big thing that we need to embrace as Africans, especially if it's negative. It's building you. It's not anything bad.
And we're not very good with feedback. For
Right.
me, I'm not so big on, let me spotlight us both. For me, I think that is very powerful, because I've had fair share of feedback. Me and my cohort one, I actually sat through and I said they should give me feedback of what I'm not doing well.
Yeah.
So you can imagine me sitting there getting all the feedback. I told them it was very hard.
Right.
But it has actually helped me, because I see feedback as gather lessons to learn. What
Right.
do you need to improve? What do you need to adapt? What do you need to discard? If you don't give room for feedback, you're a failure. That's the way I see it.
Right.
And so it's very important that we understand that feedback is actually very powerful.
Right.
So now let's do something fun. We've talked about very intensely. Who is your Agile hero?
You know what I'm going to say.
Oh, but I'd like you to say it anyway. And I'm going to talk about Agile20Reflect as well, the festival coming up.
Right. Mercy, I'm not being biased, but I have to say that you inspire me.
I thought it was me.
your rate of doing things is quite fascinating. I have learned quite a lot from you from the little time that I have known you. And not to put you on the spot, but it feels like it's a natural connection. It's the way you have carried yourself in the Agile space has actually taught me that you don't have to be scared. You have to be bold. Like I said, you have to be bold. You don't have to be apologetic about it. You have to do what you need to do and move with the time. In terms of businesses, you will be left behind if you're not using Agile. you have to embrace business agility. You have to move with time. And from the bigger challenge that we have of involving management in Africa, I think we really have to focus on teaching business agility to a lot of chief executives or management in different organizations, so that they're able to move with time, and we should not have this conversation of people don't have management support. So that challenge, I think, needs to go away, and people have to be bold to have those conversations. And that's one aspect that you have told me. People need to be bold, and you do not have to be apologetic about it. And I will cross my boundary and just add another person who has inspired me. I have been
Ross it away.
Right. I have been listening to Sally Alata, and she has inspired me because she has been bold, and her Agile journey has been very inspiring. She started Agile when she was very young, and she has broken a lot of boundaries as a woman, especially. And for me, I'm calling all those women out there that we need to be bold. We need to have a seat at the table. And especially coming from a similar background of IT, and it's a male-dominated industry. I've always been either the first woman or second woman in the group when it comes to IT, or the few women in the group when it comes to IT. So how do we break those barriers? So I have picked up that inspiration from Sally Alata, who has, she grew up in Sudan and then moved to pursue her American dream. And she has done so well for herself. So you guys, you have inspired me. I always look forward to women, because for obvious reasons, we need that seat at the table, and we need to share our stories, our untold stories.
Indeed, 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 indeed. That is truly powerful. Thank you. I thought you were going to call Scrum Daddy, Louisa Mensah. We have quite great minds. I'm not going to lie. I want to say thank you for being such a phenomenal host. It was, this event is on YouTube. I posted it on LinkedIn. I'm going to post it on, I tried to do something on another platform. It didn't quite work. So lessons learned. Part of what they're saying is,
yes.
You adapt, you learn, you adapt, you make changes. What can you improve on? Is a continuous learning. You never stop learning. And that's so key, very key. So I want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. It can only get better.
Right.
It can only truly get better. I don't know if you have any last things to say.
I think, Mercy, the only words I'd like to share are that we, as a community, as a global community, the Agile20Reflect Festival has really brought everybody from all the corners of the world into one place, share experiences, talk about their journeys, learn and relearn. For us who are new in the industry, to be carried on the wings of those that have been in the industry for a long time. So I'm grateful for being a part of this community. I'm grateful for bringing my Zambian community into this space, because we need to take these messages from the Agile20Reflect back to our communities and grow our communities and share the knowledge that we are acquiring, because we also need to move with the times. So Agile20Reflect has been a platform for me to really put my voice to those big voices as a as a fresh voice, add my voice to all the voices, and interact and network with all the Agile practitioners across the globe. So,
thank you so much.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I had to change. I changed the backdrop deliberately because we were talking about Agile20Reflect. It's talking about bringing people together.
Right.
And people, it doesn't matter where you are. It's such a powerful platform. And there's events the whole month of February.
Right.
I think they've gone over 300 events registered. Nigeria has an event coming up there on the 20th. And I have the first lean coffee that is going to happen for Nigerians on the 17th. So Agile20Reflect is where you want to be.
Yes.
I want to say thank you so much, Nchimunya, for being such a phenomenal guest, for lending your voice. We'll keep having a conversation. It can only get better. I believe that with everything I hold here, it can only get better. And I'm hopeful that things will change as we continue to have the conversation, because this is very important. We need to have that conversation.
Right.
We need to have that conversation. We need to continue to have the conversation. It's so important.
Right.
And
just move Africa to a different level. How do we do that? We need to, as Africans, come together and just work together as Africans and see how we move the continent to a different level and be a part of what is going on everywhere.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Mercy, and let's continue the conversation as we look forward to Agile20Reflect and more conversations from you.